From milk to meat, the journey grows. Tender steps to stronger bones. Through the desert, through the wheat, every word is bread to eat.
All right. Well, everybody, if you're listening to this, you know what time it is. It is time for another episode of your favorite program, Milk to Meat. I'm doing it like the PBS today because, I don't know, it just felt right. And I'm joined by my good friend and co-host. You know him as the hashtag BTG. Hello, Trav.
Hi, Rob.
I don't know why that hit me the way that it did. It just, I don't know, it started and I couldn't stop.
Could have hit you harder.
Just like, could it have T-boned you, please? I don't know. Seriously, I think people are going to be like, I don't know that it's a ministry calling. It's just too much fun for them. You know what I'm saying?
It could be fun.
Who says ministry's not fun? We try to make it fun.
That's it.
Look, you know what? Serving the Lord is a blast. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'll be honest with you. So, anyway, last time we talked about accountability, which feeds into fellowship, because part of accountability we talked about does create genuine fellowship. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about fellowship. And our verses that we had last time,
I
though,
think we're going to talk about fellowship.
Are we? Let's talk about fellowship. How many times can we say it? So here's what we want you to do in the comments. We want you to count how many times you say fellowship, and put it in the comments. So, but last time we talked through the scriptures we used were Proverbs 27:17 and James 5:16. But James 5:16 really, I think, is where it says, "Therefore confess your sins to one another and pray for one another, so that you may be healed. The effective prayer of a righteous man can accomplish much." And that really does deal a lot in the fellowship realm, because to do that, and how do we create that? That's the goal of what we're going to talk about. Today's creating that safe, kind of good, quality, genuine that the Lord wants. So, anyway, safe fellowship in the church community is built on mutual vulnerability, confidentiality, and active listening. I want to talk about active listening because, yeah, exactly. There it is. It thrives when members intentionally remove masks and share authentic struggles, ground relationships in unconditional respect, and commit to bearing one another's burdens through practical support and prayer. Creating this environment requires a deliberate combination of emotional boundaries, spiritual support, and shared physical space. Cultivating this atmosphere involves several key practices, which we're going to go over, but let's go back through. That's a lot to unpack. And um, it's all about creating that genuine friendship.
Yeah.
Where you can be vulnerable. You know that your stuff is going to be kept confidential. Active listening. It is amazing to me the lack of active listening that people do.
Oh, without a doubt. And I'm guilty of it.
Oh, sure.
I can stare at something and listen to it for an hour and have not a clue.
Oh, sure. But it's interesting. And I've told people, I don't tell people this a lot just because I don't want them trying to use it on me. But the passive listening that happens when people have a conversation. So I'll give you an example. And you know this because you and I have talked about this. When people come up and they say, "Hey, man, how's it going?"
Yeah.
They actually don't mean how's it going. They're using it as a greeting.
Right.
Their brain is literally waiting for any response so that they can get on with whatever they want to either do or they're part of the conversation. So you could say these words, and they keep talking. Trav, do they know? I've used it on a complete stranger. They absolutely have no idea.
No clue.
And they keep talking. So again, it's literally, how's it going is not really what they mean.
Right.
It is just
it's a rhetorical question.
It's a rhetorical question, but it's also a greeting, I guess, a standard greeting.
Right.
But it's interesting because we're not actively listening at times. We're not, when somebody says, "Hey, man, it's been a rough week." Oh, wow, okay, well, great. And we want to talk about what we want to talk about. I'm sorry it's been a rough week. What's going on? Or just listening for the tone. Those things, if they're our friend, we should be listening for those things.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And again, if it's not your friend and you don't want to listen, that's up to you. And that's fine, because you and I have said this. We're guilty. So please do not take this as a judgment on you. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we're all guilty. But we need to become good, active listeners where we're listening to people when they talk. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the thing. So our good friend Jason, which we will not use his last name because of other reasons, is a great active listener. So I always hate when I talk to him because it's very difficult to get anything by him. But he's a good active listener. So shout out. He'll be like, stop talking.
Pretty much.
But anyway, we don't give a lot of shout outs, but we do every once in a while.
That's your thing. You
Yeah.
love a shout out.
I'll do a shout out to somebody, you know what I mean? So shout out to Polar Pop. Uh, we talked about it last episode. If you don't get that joke, go back and listen to the last episode. But anyway, so yeah, but there's also we're deliberately creating an environment though, and again, people go, well, yeah, I can do that without being in the same space, and sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't.
Well, things have changed a lot in the modern world.
They really have.
You can have fellowship with people on the other side of the world.
You really can.
Now, it's not physical.
True.
Now, I can physically see you. I can
Right.
physically hear you.
Sure.
We can't touch, but
Sure.
you shouldn't be touching anyway.
There you go.
So,
Yeah,
but
I'm a
if you
personal
go
space
back,
kind of guy.
if you go back to when the Bible was written, the
Sure.
times it was in, fellowship meant coming together.
Yeah.
Now here we are, well past that, and I can get together with just about anybody in the world if
Sure.
they have, access to the internet or cell phone or whatever the case may be.
Right. I
So,
agree.
but in this case, fellowship is, we're talking more of in a church environment or in a small group or in a Bible study or two friends or a group of friends that are just getting together and trying to, we talked about in the previous episode, accountability. It's a time for us to sit down and talk and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, what's going on in your life. Is there anything you need to talk about? This is what I need to talk about. There's a lot of different things. So the shared meals and hospitality, opening homes, sharing food provides a relaxed,
Yeah.
relational atmosphere that promotes deeper interpersonal connections and unity. So that's a great opportunity.
Yeah,
You get
it
together and
is.
break bread.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, most of the time where I'm at, though, once you start breaking bread, everybody gets quiet until the food's
Well,
done with.
so here's the problem: is our wives are phenomenal
Oh, yeah.
cooks. So I blame them for that.
I'm not getting on that one with you, Rob.
No, probably not. I'm just saying they're really good cooks, and so everybody starts
absolutely.
eating. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. But when you get in these situations, you can sit down and have conversations and share things with one another. It goes back to the passage, iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
It gives you that opportunity.
Well, and not only that, if you think about it, like back in the day, and people always go, "Well, that was Bible times." Let me be clear now, even.
Well, it's really only in the last 30 years.
Right, but even today, think about this: if business is transacted over lunch or dinner,
Correct.
how many times are people going, "Hey, we'll do it over dinner," whatever. So even today, food is the great equalizer.
It is.
And so even now, when you come together, and again, give you another great example. When do you have the highest church attendance? Probably when there's a potluck afterwards, or there's
If you
some kind of.
feed them, they will come.
If you feed them, they will come. Right.
But that's very biblical.
It is.
Let's go back to Jesus feeding the 5,000
Yeah.
and the 4,000
Sure.
and so on. He knew.
Right.
He said, I can get these people to sit here all day long and listen to me talk
Sure.
as long as I feed them.
Absolutely. No, he's not wrong. I mean, and there's also, it's interesting when you're dealing with, like when I was in Israel and we were doing ministry, one of the things that I was very much taught by all the different ministries is this: you cannot meet a spiritual need if you're not willing to meet the physical need. They're not going to listen to you about Jesus if their belly's growling.
Oh, absolutely.
So
It's kind of
interesting.
like walking up to a homeless person who hasn't ate in
Yeah.
a long time. They're like, I want to tell you about how great God is.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there thinking, I am starving.
Right, exactly. So, when I say food is the great equalizer, it's interesting that we say that, and it's interesting because we come in from America where it is the land in this sense, it's of plenty. A lot of people don't have that land of plenty. The third world has become the 2/3 world because it's 2/3 of the world that is in that poverty-stricken kind of demographic. And really, when you sit down and you can bring somebody into your home, like you said, you can share a meal. I think the reason partially that speaks volumes is because, in the Bible it talks about share what you have with others and do good unto them. When you do that, you are sharing. Well, when you're sharing a part of yourself. You're sharing your home, but you're sharing your stuff with them. And it allows for a deeper kind of it creates almost not an instantaneous bond, but it
Right.
creates an opening.
It does, and when you're doing things in smaller groups or just one on one, it makes most people feel more at ease when they're talking about, let's say, a difficult topic.
Sure.
Or like we said before, accountability.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to what I was always taught was you praise in public and you correct in private,
That's absolutely right.
and that's where we're going here with this is when you have this fellowship in a private setting or even a church setting or whatever. I mean, it's a smaller group than just being out in the public,
Right.
so you can sit down and you can really have these, as you said before, intimate conversations.
Yep. And it's so important. And I think, the idea with this creating a safe fellowship is understanding what you would want.
Yeah.
If I'm sharing something, first of all, I want understanding. I don't want to be when I say judge, let me define that what I mean. I understand that it's probably, right or wrong.
Yeah.
But what I don't want is the condemnation. Okay, you're going to hell. No, stop. I understand. Look, you don't know that. And so we don't judge the salvation of a person. We necessarily don't even judge the motives. Let's look and let's let them finish talking. They may be saying the whole time, "I want out of this."
Yeah.
And your condemnation of them is only serving to do and drive them farther away from what they need, which is help. Listen the whole time. We talked about active listening. Listen the whole time. Let them finish talking before you, and don't gasp and just listen. You know what I mean? And then when they're done, the other thing we don't do a lot, we don't ask questions. We just want to talk. We're so in a hurry, and it's interesting, and I'm guilty of this a lot. We are so in a hurry to talk, we're not even really listening that
So
much.
I want to give you a practical exercise here from my own personal experience.
Sure.
When I worked for the Department of Corrections, I went through crisis intervention training, and they talked a lot about this. And they said the best way when dealing with someone in a crisis is
Yeah.
to repeat back to them what they said.
Yeah.
That way they know that you're listening.
Right.
If you say the sky is blue, your response will be, so what I heard was, as you said, the sky is blue.
Right.
It's a confirmation or an affirmation that you're listening to what they're saying. And when people feel heard,
Yeah.
they tend to de-escalate.
Well, and not only that, but let's just say you say, "I heard you say the sky is blue." Okay, but here's what I meant by that. So it's navy blue. Okay, so all of a sudden they can correct anything that they feel like
Right.
is incorrect that you said.
Right.
So if you heard something and you put your interpretation on it, they can correct that. So that then when it is time for you to talk, by the way, your mindset is not is their mindset, but you're coming from what their mind is creating as the factual set of arguments.
And if I could add another thing, because this is when it drives me absolutely bonkers, is the one up.
Yeah.
Is when you
Absolutely.
say, I'm going to take this time to actively listen to what this person has to say.
Yeah.
And the only thing you're waiting for is for them to stop so you can say, yeah, I've been through that, and it was a lot worse than yours.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people like this.
Yeah.
And you try to knock down their situation.
Yes.
And it's really off-putting.
Not only that, let me say this too. Okay. So I've when somebody is telling you something, so let's use hungry, because you and I get hungry a lot, okay? And somebody says, well, and let's use this. You and I have done this. I'm hungry. And somebody goes, well, I haven't eaten at all today. How do you think I feel? No, stop.
Then I ask about you.
Well, not even that, Trav. Does that make you any less hungry?
No, it
Because
doesn't.
they're hungry too?
No, it doesn't.
When somebody's in crisis because you're in pain, doesn't make their pain go away.
No, it definitely doesn't.
And if it's about them right now, let it be about them. To your point with the one-upsmanship, It doesn't make their pain less because your pain is more.
No, it doesn't.
Now, if you want to share pain
And you also have to
with
put
them, but it doesn't, don't one up their pain, don't make their pain less. Validate. Hey, I see, man, I'm so sorry that you're in that. And it don't be like when I was going through, just utilize the fact that you understand pain in your mind to understand what you would want and give them what you would want, which is somebody not doing that and somebody's valid. You know what I'm saying? Utilize that without saying anything about it.
right. And here's another thing I want to add is what is a crisis in your eyes is not in another's.
Absolutely.
You know, I have a background of military, Department of Corrections. I've dealt with some crazy stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so a crisis to me has got to be really, really bad.
Sure.
A crisis to an individual has no experience could be something we would consider very minute,
Sure.
but in their eyes, it's very extreme
It's still a
because
crisis. Yeah.
it's the most extreme thing they've ever personally dealt
Right.
with.
And that's, see, and again, to me, dealing with some of the things and that I've dealt. Yeah, crisis is a boy, that's a term
Yeah,
that but that doesn't mean to somebody else it's not. Everybody has their definition of crisis, and you can't determine their definition is wrong because that's not my definition. It's it's the most important thing to them right now,
it is.
and so you can't diminish that. And so the idea, why are we talking about all this stuff? Because if you want to truly give them an experience in which they're given a godly fellowship, safe kind of environment, you have to do these things to give them a place where they can truly grow. They can truly share, and they don't need to take over and be all. We're not talking about let's just run the whole show. That's not what we're saying. But Jesus was one of those people. When you talk to him, he was a safe space. And
Right.
I don't like that term a lot. I got to be honest
Yeah,
in
I'm
this
not a
day and
fan.
age. But he was safe.
Right.
He would let you talk. He would minister to you, and then when you were done talking to him, he didn't always make you. And I'm going to say this: he didn't always make you feel better,
No,
but
you knew
he,
he listened.
but you knew he listened, and you knew that there was a solution and a path forward. And I say that very carefully because we don't probably all want to try to be Jesus, who was God in flesh, who knew the end from the beginning. So just be real careful. But we need to try to at least model our behavior because one thing he did was he cared and he was compassionate and he had love for everyone who came and talked to him. So
Absolutely.
that's what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, it's one of those things, and we always need to have that mutual, be giving that support, and again, prayer. And I don't want to say when all else fails because it's not your last thing that you do, but we always need to be praying for one another. We always need to be lifting each other up in prayer, because prayer should be our first line of defense,
Absolutely.
not the last, but the first.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that we're praying one for another. The Bible tells us, commands us to do that. So we need to be doing that. But yeah, we need to be creating those safe places of fellowship because people are looking for those.
And also another thing, and to me this is a big one, is a follow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's okay to sit down and talk and have these conversations, but to come back a week, a month, whatever the appropriate time frame you feel is, and just say, hey, we talked about this a while back. Do you have an update? Is there anything changed? Is there anything you didn't need at that time?
Right, and that might even be part of accountability,
Yeah.
depending on what it is, actually. So
Yeah,
again,
these two go together really
they
well.
really do. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, again, keep developing that accountability and create that fellowship, by opening yourself up.
Yeah.
Meet some people, create that, develop those friendships and that fellowship. Um, but you got to do that by, being there.
That's it.
So, all right. Anything else, Trav?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we will wrap this episode up. We are so glad you joined us. If you have any questions, you want to talk to us, you can email us at at milk2meat discipleship@gmail.com. You can subscribe, tell your friends about it, or leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. And again, we are so thankful for you. We are always praying for you. And we will see you on the next episode of Milk
Milk
to
to
Meat.
Meat.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.